So what I'm going to do today is actually go through why you should hire an agent that's a fiduciary instead of a functionary, and it really starts with taking care of your best interest. Make sure you hit the like, share, and subscribe button for me. And this is Brandon Hoffman going through the buyer agency and what it means in South Carolina. If you're not in South Carolina, your agency could mean something a little different. So my process, every time I sit down with a buyer, we're going to start in our office and we're actually going to go through a consultation to make sure we understand the buyer's needs and that we're protecting their interest through the transaction. Honestly, a functionary is someone who goes out and opens a door and fills in blanks on a contract when someone tells them how much they want to offer, and they really don't add a whole lot of value to the transaction. What we try to be is a fiduciary, meaning we protect your money, your assets, because I want to be the agent you go to somewhere down the road when you sell the house you purchase, come in and give you good news. Hey, it's a good investment, this is going to be a good resale, you're going to be happy when you walk away from here. So this is what we do as a fiduciary, is start with our meeting here in the office, and we're going to go through, find out your needs, make sure we have your wants, and try to find the right home in the right location for you. And then when you're done, you get to keep this lovely binder so you don't have to worry about memorizing everything. But assuming we go through these questions with you, I'm going to skip ahead to South Carolina requires buyer agency. So before we can actually start working for you, we have to sign an agency agreement. Otherwise, I'm not allowed to give you my opinion on anything, and my opinion is really why you should be hiring me. I'm very experienced in the business. I've seen thousands and thousands of homes, whereas your average buyer doesn't move but every 7 years. So it's all about the experience and the knowledge. So here's what we do. We go through the presentation, and this is why you hire an agent. First of all, there's an agency disclosure. In the agency disclosure, it basically states that if you haven't signed one, you're a customer. As a customer, the agent doesn't owe you anything but honest information pertaining to the house, material information only. So opinion doesn't really come into play here. So that means the agent couldn't even suggest an offer price or necessarily point out anything that might be opinion based. Is it a good asking price? Agent couldn't answer that under a customer relationship. But you can become a client by signing a buyer agency. When you become a client, then the agent at that point owes you several things, which the state has defined client level duties as obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, accounting and reasonable care and skill, as well as assistance with negotiations. In fact, they write it out right there for you. So when you sign a buyer agency, that's what the agent owes you that. The reason you sign an agency in South Carolina, the reason the state of South Carolina wants you to sign an agency is so that the agent is legally bound to protect your best interest in the transaction. Verbal contracts are not enforceable. If you don't have an agency agreement and that agent wrongs you in some way, you don't have any legal recourse. So a lot of people are nervous about signing a buyer agency because they don't want to be committed. We actually give you an easy exit guarantee, and we sign it and says if you're not happy you can fire us, but then we turn around and execute the agency agreement, so we're legally bound to protect your best interest in the agency. South Carolina wants this just to protect you, the consumer, from the big bad scary real estate agent out there who everyone assumes is out to take advantage of them. So the agency itself is actually a fairly harmless agreement. It basically says you're hiring, in this case Brandon Hoffman with Keller Williams, to help you purchase a home in South Carolina, because these are location specific, where we're going to represent your best interest, and you're going to let us know of anything that affects your ability to purchase a home. You don't owe us anything unless you actually purchase a home, in which case we're going to get a commission on the purchase. The term of the agency is the start date and end date, because every enforceable contract has a start date and an end date, and it goes over dual agency if you choose to have if you're willing to have an agent represent you from the same company as representing the seller. You understand there's other potential buyers, so if another buyer purchases the home you're looking at, you can't hold us accountable for it. There's an indemnification clause, which simply states you haven't signed an agency with somebody else. Disclosure of identity allows us, the agent, to work with your affiliated professionals on your behalf, your home inspector, your real estate attorney, your mortgage lender. And there's a liability clause in here. It says if there's anything unintentional, our liability limitation is the amount of commission we receive, except for if we do something intentional to harm you, in which case the limit doesn't apply. There's a non-discrimination clause, and we can't discriminate. Should be self-explanatory there anyway, as well as the professional counsel. We'll send you to professional counsel in a field if we're not qualified to answer. If we were to get sideways before anybody sues anybody, you're going to go through mediation. sex offender information. If you need that, you need to go to the local sheriff's website for that info, and then it states that this is simply a binding contract between yourself and Keller Williams Columbia to help you purchase a home, and you're going to get a copy of that, and then everyone signs and initials. And like I said, it's a pretty harmless document, really intended to protect you from the real estate agent out there. So when an agent of South Carolina asks you to sign an agency agreement, that's good. That means they're following the local laws and guidelines for real estate like they're supposed to. If you've got an agent out there running around showing you homes that's not asking for an agency agreement, honestly, I would be a little concerned about that right off the bat, because one of the very first agency laws in South Carolina, we as agents have to present agency disclosure. And before we can actually start working for you, meaning showing you homes, offering you opinions, legally we're supposed to sign an agency agreement with you, which protects you, the buyer, much more so than it protects us, the agent. So yeah, that's agency disclosure. I'd recommend getting one with an agent in South Carolina. As far as if you're in a different state, talk to agents and find out what the agency laws are in your state outside of South Carolina.